afternoon. This is Alex for the Rialta Owners Group of America. There's a lot of reasons why people may not want to use the onboard generator if they're out for an extended period of time. Either it's too noisy, or the fumes are too close, or it doesn't run smoothly. Whatever reason that may be, there's going to come a time where you're going to want to run the power from a different source. Maybe a different generator that's not on board the Rialta, or a shoreline. This video is going to discuss how to do both. When you open up the trunk, if you look inside to the upper left, just out of view, you'll see that junction box that comes out from your generator. That's where the cord plugs into that feeds that service to your main breaker panel. If you take a look right next to the junction box, you'll see that there is a coaxial cable connection that's available for either antenna or cable TV if the area that you're at, either a well-developed and advanced campsite or boondocking in the driveway, has that available to you. In the floor of the trunk, you'll notice that there is an opening to pass the cord on through, with a notch opening in it that allows you to pass the cord through, then close a lid around it so that small rodents and birds and things can't get up inside your trunk. Once you've fed the shoreline through the floor of the trunk and closed the lid and extended it to its full length, you don't have to worry about running out of shoreline in 1 or 2 feet. As a matter of fact, this particular model, the 99QD, has over 30 feet of heavy gauge cable that's connected to it. So if you parked a little bit too far away from the power source, you can reach it. Or if you're using an external generator, you can stay away from the noise and the fumes as well. Remember never to use an extension cord in addition to the shoreline. This is heavy gauge cable inside, designed by the manufacturer to carry the normal load that you would have inside the Rialta under normal conditions. The cables that you have in the extension cords, even the shop grade cords that you have for your saws and other tools, is not of the same gauge and can't support that and can actually cause a fire risk. With that being said, you can't just plug the shoreline into a standard household outlet. The configuration on the plug and on the socket is different. The reason why, this is set up for no less than 30 amps, and these are set up for no more than 20 amps. You could buy an adapter that goes to that if you were going to do just routine testing. You wanted to test just the air conditioner for a few minutes, or you wanted to test just the lights or just the TVs. But using an adapter to bypass this, which is truly a built-in safety mechanism for all intents and purposes, can still cause that fire risk. There's products that are sold on the market called pigtails. They look like this. It takes this adapter, which you can plug your regular shoreline into, and then turns it into the regular 120 connection. Again, this is useful if you're going to be doing some testing of the air conditioner or some testing of lights or testing the microwave. Short-term, limited use only. This was never intended to be a full-time solution to connecting shore power to your RV. One other thing to remember is that current flow creates heat. The more current you use, the more heat is generated in these cords. So if you don't need it on, turn it off. You're also saving wear and tear on the elements inside your power cord. One of the things that many of us take for granted is a ready supply of potable hot water. When we're in a residential building, especially one that has a newer, more modern, tankless, high-efficiency water heating system, we know that when we turn on that hot water valve, that we're going to have a consistent supply of potable hot water. Whether we're washing our hands or washing dishes or taking a shower or even filling the spa tub, we're fairly confident that we'll have enough hot water to go around and then some. For those of us that have lived on RVs for an extended period of time or have an older unit, we know that the supply of hot water is far more limited, so we've learned how to conserve it. For example, if I know that I take my shower in the morning and everybody else does, when I get up in the morning, I turn on the water heater and then I have a cup of coffee while it heats up. When I'm done and everyone's done with their shower, I turn it back off. This saves on the wear and tear on the electric heating elements for the water heater itself, so that they last longer. When it's time to do the dishes, I prefer to heat up a pot of water on the stove. It gives me a lot of hot water, as much as I need, very fast, so I can do the dishes, get it done. I'm not only saving a lot on electricity, remember again, I'm saving on the wear and tear on those electrical elements that heat up the water in the tank. This particular model of RV, the 1999 Winnebago Rialta, has something called a heater assist system on it. That's an extra set of heater hoses that run from the front to a coil inside the water heater reservoir in the back and then back up front again, so that while I'm driving, it's heating the water that's in the tank. The benefit to this is that when I arrive at my destination, I already have hot water available to wash my hands or clean up and get some dinner ready, whatever it may be. That only works when I'm driving. When I'm off-grid or on the generator plugged into a shoreline, I need to use the electric elements in that water heater. Learning how to use the water, the electricity in your water heater wisely will not only save on precious resources, it'll also save on maintenance dollars in the long run. Probably the best and easiest way to understand how to keep your system from overheating is to understand the basics on how it works. Our Rialta, or any RV, becomes a mini house. Our regular house has a large set of conductor cables that's coming in that's feeding our breaker panel, and the breaker panel goes out to the individual circuits in the house. And it's balanced so that at any given time you can use a certain number of circuits without overheating the conductors. The same needs to be taken into consideration in your RV. We have our 30 amp energy that's coming in. That main conductor is bringing that to the breaker panel, our 30 amp breaker panel, which is divided up amongst 15 amp and 20 amp breakers. It is never intended for every circuit to be used all at the same time. So, some common sense approaches to this. First off, if you're not using it, turn it off. Secondly, if your system starts to give you signs and symptoms that it's drawing too much, it's popping the breakers, it's stalling the generator motor, or you happen to touch the insulation on the outside of the conductor in passing and you feel that it's warm, well, that's an indication that there's too much draw in that system and you need to cut down on the amount that you're pulling at any one given time. The owner's manual is always the best tool to go back to. In the owner's manual here, we have a chart that tells us what the average draw of certain small household appliances is. In this case, let's look at the vacuum cleaner. The draw can be 200 to 500 watts or 1.7 to 4.3 amps. The coffee maker, 550 to 700 watts or 4.8 to 6.1 amps. Why is there such a difference in between? Because all of these have a draw based upon the particular unit. Some vacuums are more powerful than others. They have larger motors. There's more draw. Some are smaller and more convenient. The best way to get a grasp on how this affects your particular RV is to look at the tags from the manufacturer that are on your small appliances and write them down. Having that chart available, and with easy reference, should allow you to have a better grasp and understanding on what you can run at the same time and what should wait for later. In other words, you probably shouldn't be making coffee and heating up pancakes in the microwave while you're drying your hair and warming up the curling iron. Once again, I have to emphasize, the flow of electricity, the current itself, generates heat. The heat itself, if it gets too high, not only breaks down those systems, but can create a fire hazard. So, if you have to live on a generator, if you're living on a shoreline for an extended period of time, even on a short-term basis, it's a good idea to go ahead and make that chart so you have an idea what you can and shouldn't do as far as your electricity use on board your RV. There's a seemingly endless variety of generators that are available on the market today, from size to output to manufacturer. Make sure you understand your RV manufacturer's specification before going out to shop for a generator, and then match those specifications against the specifications on the generator. Matching the right generator to the RV can save you a lot of hardship and problems down the road. Shore power is great, and for a lot of great reasons. It allows us to shut down and save on gas over itself, and it allows us to enjoy the conveniences that we usually enjoy in a home. Everything from the air conditioning to the microwave to the TV, the stereo, even just keeping our personal devices charged up so we have an alarm clock. All of these things contribute to the use of current that we often take for granted. Remember, the electricity flow, if not properly wired and properly maintained and routinely inspected, can become dangerous.
RVs are notorious for attracting small rodents when they're in storage or not in use for a prolonged period of time, and they love to gnaw on electrical connections. So if you haven't used your RV for a while, or you parked it out in the field for a few weeks and you might have gotten some mice on board, it's extremely important to take the time to go through it and inspect the areas that would be prone to that chewing. That way, when you really need the shore power, you have it available, and you have it available safely. I'm Alex for the Rialta Owners Group of America. Have a great day.